Hi guys, welcome back to NASA's Trend. So today on the channel, I'll be showing you how to make a wrap top with a bell sleeve. If you're interested in knowing how to make this, give this video a thumbs up, keep watching, bring your fabrics, and let's get started on this. So I'm working with 2 yards of Duchess fabric. Now you can use any fabric of your choice for this project, okay? But I chose to use a Duchess fabric. So the first thing I want to do is to draft it out on my paper. I've gone ahead to fold my paper into two, and then I'm drawing a line at the top which will serve as my shoulder line and my starting point. Now on that line, I'll go in and mark half of my shoulder measurement, and from that point I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slant. Okay, now from the shoulder slant point I'll mark 7 inches, which is my arm length. So to get this, divide your round bust by 6, add 1.5 inches to that, and you're on your way to success. And then I went ahead to just rule a horizontal line and a vertical line on that point. Now I'm marking a neck width of 3 inches and a neck depth of 1.5 inches. Now this is because this is the back part of this, and I'm going in with my curve rule to connect my points together like so, and I'll go in and mark out my shoulder slant. So on the point, the vertical line of my arm length, I will take the measurement I have there, divide it by 2, and I'll go in by half of an inch, make a mark there. On my horizontal line, I will divide my round bust by 4, mark it down, that's the circumference of the round bust, and then add 1.1 inch, which is my stitching allowance. So depending on your allowance, you can go ahead and add that down. All right, so I'm just going in with my curve rule to connect my points together like so. So you will notice I'm marking the front and the back armhole on my pattern paper. Okay, that is because I'll be working with it together. All right, then I'm going ahead to take my other vertical measurement, my bust point, my under bust point, and then the length of the top. So wherever you want the length to end, ensure you add at least 1 inch for hemming at the end. Okay, then I'll go in with my rule and mark out this line, draw out horizontal lines on this in order to make it bold enough to work with. All right, now we have it. So the top doesn't have a dart, okay, but if you want to fix a dart at the back, you can do that. So I just went ahead to make a label, okay, to label them, to label my lines. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is to take the circumference measurement. Now on the bust point, I'll repeat the same measurement I have on my chest line, which is quarter of my round bust, and then add my allowance to that. I'll repeat the same thing on my waist, quarter of my round waist, and then I add my stitching allowance to that. Okay, sorry, I'm working with the stitching allowance of 1.5 inch, right? So you can use whatever allowance works better for you. I'm just going in with my rule to connect the points I've made like so. Okay, so this is what we have for our back. Like I said, we will not be darting this, but if you want to dart this, go ahead and mark out your dart, but ensure you're adding back your dart allowance to this. So I'll just go in with my scissors to cut this out. I'm cutting out the back armhole first, okay, so that after cutting out on our back piece, we can work on the front. So on the shoulder area, I'm not cutting exactly the 1 inch I use for my shoulder slant, okay? So I just added a little of an allowance, about 0.5 inch at that point. So I went ahead to fold in the piece I'm using for my back. Now the back doesn't have a zip, that is why it is folded. And I'm just spinning my pattern paper to it like so, so that I can trace this out. So this is what you have. You just go ahead and pin them properly so they're not moving. Ensure the back piece, the center back is matching appropriately, and then go ahead with your scissors to cut out the unwanted parts. All right, there we have it. This is what it looks like. So I'll take off the pattern paper. This is what we have. All right, so we want to work on the front. So we'll trace out our front armhole. Remember, we marked this out initially while we were doing this. So take off the front armhole. So if you're marking this on your fabric directly, ensure you take this down. Okay, then we'll go ahead and open this up to work on our wrap effect in front. So from the center, that's the neckline area, I'll be going down by 6 inches, which will be my neck depth. Okay, so you can decide to have more for yours, or you can decide to have less, whatever works for you. And then on the other end, I'll be going up by 2 inches from this other end, right? So if you want to connect yours straight to the edge, you can also do that. Okay, I feel like you can work with whatever works for you best. I always say that. Okay, and I'm going in with my curve rule to connect my points together. Now you can use the straight rule to just connect this throughout, depending on the effect you want on your neckline in front. So ensure you don't have any pointy ends. So I just went in with my curve rule to touch up on that area so that it is not pointy. And I'll go in with my scissors to take out the parts I will not be needing for this. So this is what we have after doing this. We'll go ahead and place this on our fabric piece. So I've placed this on my fabric. I folded it into two. So you need to note that the front has two sides, one for the left and one for the right. And I just went in with my scissors to chalk out exactly what I needed. I just went in with my scissors to trace out exactly what I needed for this. Okay. So you can see this is what we have. We'll take off our paper so that we'll get a better view of this. Okay. So without this, you can see we have two of this, one for the right and the other for the left. You should have yours looking like so. Okay. So work on our sleeve next. So keep this aside and then work on our sleeve. So for the sleeve, I've gone ahead to draft out a basic sleeve. Okay, my sleeve isn't folded into two, so I just marked out my center front. If you don't know how to do that, I'll be dropping a link in the description box on how to draft out a basic sleeve. And I'm just going in with my tape to divide what I have into three parts. So depending on what you have on your width, you can divide it into four. You can divide into the numbers you want. Okay, so ensure you know this is a bell sleeve. It needs to have that flowy full effect. So whatever choice you're making for yours, ensure it's going to bring out the perfect result. Okay, so I've divided mine into three and I went ahead to label them 1, 2, 3. Okay, after which I'm going in with my scissors, tracing, following the line I marked earlier to cut this to the top, but I am not cutting this throughout. Okay, so I have like a little still attached there. Okay, you should do the same thing for yours. So this is what it's meant to look like. So I'm gonna have to fold in my fabric for my sleeve. I actually folded 4 of this, so it's folded into 4, meaning one part to be for one part of the sleeve and the other for the other side of the sleeve. All right, so this is what I have. I'll go in and place my pattern on it. So this means it's a slash and spread method, placing the center front on the folded edge of my fabric. This is the importance of marking your center front, especially when your paper it's not folded, so that you're not confused. Okay, or you go ahead and label them accordingly like I did. So I actually did 2 of mine, so it matches perfectly. And then I'm going into the spread I'm using is 4 inches for mine. That's how I got my effect. If you want yours to be more, you can use more than 4 inches. If you want yours to be less, you can use less than 4 inches. Now, if you want yours to be less, I advise you don't go below 3 inches. Okay, so from 3 inches upwards, it's okay. Okay, so I just pinned it down using 4 inches difference between them. So this is what it looks like. Ensure you pin them properly, and then I'll go in with my scissors to trace out my sleeve. Okay, there we have it. This is what it looks like. I'm going to unpin this so that you get a better view of how this looks like. Right. So this is the sleeve. This is what it looks like. So depending on you, you can use a longer length or you can use a shorter length. So go in now to start stitching our piece together. We're bringing in the back piece, placing the right side of the back piece facing up, and then bringing in my two parts of my front piece, placing the right side facing the right side of the back piece, and I place them together, ensuring they are well placed, and I'll go ahead and stitch the shoulders by half of an inch on both sides. So I've done that. This is what it looks like after I did that. Next we want to do is to attach our sleeves to our top. To do that, you take out your sleeve, all right, get the center front of your sleeve. So you want to ensure you've placed this properly so that one part is not longer than the other, and you're not going over this over and over again. Okay, so you take it, fold it into two, get the center part of your sleeve, pin it down to the shoulder joining of your top, and then stitch to the left and to the right. Okay, repeat the same process for the other side of the sleeve. Make a notch at the center, place your notch end to the joining of your fabric, and then stitch it left and right. So ensure while you're stitching down, you're placing the right side to the right side. Okay, so I've done that. This is what it looks like after I finish doing that. Okay, it's coming up gradually and nice. So the next thing I want to do is to hem the edge of my sleeve. So I'll just go in and fold in half of an inch and fold in another half of an inch, after which I will align these together properly and then stitch down the sides of my top with the allowance I added for this. So I'll just go ahead and do that right now. So I've done that. This is what it looks like. This is the edge of our sleeve after I finish hemming it. This is the sides. Okay, and I also went ahead to hem the edge of our top. That's the down part of the top. Okay, so I'm yet to iron this top right now, so that's why it's looking all wrinkled, because there's no light. So the next thing I want to do is to work on my neckline. Now there are several options you can use for the neckline. You can fold it in, like hem it by folding in. Now before you do this pattern, you must have added an allowance to your neckline. Okay, so use that to stitch it down, or you can use a bias tape to do that. But now I didn't have an already made bias, so because the ones I had didn't match the color of my fabric, I just went ahead to take the measurement I had around my neckline. Okay, so I'll be using my fabric piece to cut it out. I cut out a bias tape of 1 inch of width, and the length matching the length I had around my neckline. So what I'll do is to place this together. I'm going to place this you can either place this from the back to the front, or you place this from the front to the back, whatever way works for you, and just pipe it down. So I finished doing that. This is what it looks like. So this top is looking nice already. I cannot wait to wear this. Okay, so this is what we have. So the next we want to do is to add the belt to this. That's what helps us to tie this around the waist. So you take the measurement you have after you finish hemming and turning. So for me, I had 1 inch. Okay, so I went ahead to cut out a band that measures 3 inches of width. I cut out 2, and then the length I had on this was about 25 inches. So you can make yours longer for you if that works well. So what I'll do is to just fold this together, folding the wrong side and then stitching on top of it. So I finished doing that. I actually closed down one end and left one end open. So the open end I left is where I'm going to be attaching to my top. So I'll place that part to the right side of my fabric. I'll pin it down, stitch both of them together, and then flip it to the other side. I'll repeat the same process for the other end of my top. place the right side together, stitch it down, and flip it to the other side. So this is what I had after doing that. You can see this is how it's meant to look after you finish. So when you flip it, it should look this way, looking nice and clean from the outside. So if you enjoyed watching this video and you're yet to give this video a thumbs up, please like this video. Let me know in the comment section what you think about having a wrap top with a bell sleeve. And if you're yet to subscribe to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. And I'm waiting for your opinions, okay? If you enjoyed watching this, okay, just give me a thumbs up and I'll know you enjoyed watching this. So thank you for watching. This is NASA's Thread, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.